Governor Cuomo and I are as frustrated as two people can be because, unlike people in Congress, we have actual responsibilities.
Welcome back to the Ed Show. 66 days after Hurricane Sandy devastated communities along the East Coast, Republicans in Congress are delaying a critical disaster relief package. The House, as we told you, was expected to hold a vote on the $60.4 billion relief bill last night, but Speaker Boehner pulled the bill from consideration. The House will now vote on a $9 billion flood insurance bill on Friday, and a remaining $51 billion in aid will get a vote on January 15th. Their delay on the Hurricane Sandy disaster relief package rightfully has members of both parties furious. For more, let's turn to New York Congressman Gerald Nadler. Congressman, good to have you with us tonight.
Good to be here.
You know, we're not talking about the middle of the country. We're talking about where there's a lot of media, there's millions of people, and yet relief is not on the way. Why is that?
Well, we don't really know why it is, and people have raised that question. You know, after Hurricane Katrina, $64 billion was voted within 10 days. Here it is 66 days later. Not a nickel has been voted. A lot of the Republicans seem very reluctant to vote any money, and certainly enough. $60 billion has been, the necessity for $60 billion has been very well documented by Governors Christie.
So the politics of this, pretty inconvenient. With the backdrop of too much spending in Washington and the Republicans trying to fight the president on the most recent fiscal cliff, this was just pretty inconvenient, and they didn't give a damn about the people. I mean, that's my read on it. What about yours?
I think that is true to some extent, but it's even worse because they had to separate the bill into two bills, $27 billion and hopefully $33 billion extra, on the assumption that most of the Republicans wouldn't vote for the full amount that we need. That's just never been the case where you nickel and dime people in desperate straits because of a natural disaster before.
Will there be enough votes for this? Will you get the votes to get the $60 billion in aid to do right by these Americans?
I think the votes will be there now, but you know, because the Speaker pulled the bill last night, and we're not going to get a vote in the House now, partially tomorrow, but partially not till January 15th, assuming he's as good as his word. The Senate has to do it all over again. They had already passed it. They've got to do it all over again. And this is totally, it's just more weeks of agony for small business people whose businesses may go under because they don't get aid in time, for people who can't start rebuilding their houses.
That's the key. That is the key. There's going to be a lot, and I've covered disasters in the Midwest. Businesses close and they don't reopen, and it hurts a lot of people. Timing is of the essence right now. And of course, Governor Christie commented today on New Jersey giving more taxes back than getting from the federal government, which I think is a very profound point. Here it is.
New Jersey and New York are perennially among the most generous states in the nation to our fellow states. We vote for disaster relief for other states in need. We are donor states, sending much more to Washington, D.C. than we ever get back in federal spending.
Should that matter, Congressman?
Well, only in the sense that it shows the inequity of what's happening. The fact is, Senator Moynihan used to maintain an annual list, and it showed that we sent $18 or $19 billion a year more to Washington than we got back. But the fact is, we're lucky enough to have the industry and the tax revenue and enough upper income people to do that. We should spend money where it's needed and raise it where you can equitably. So that never bothered me. But if when we need it, the rest of the country says you can't have the money, we're going to treat you differently than everybody else, then it raises real questions.
You've got a lot of Americans displaced on the East Coast because of this. Is this government, is this Congress, is this the U.S. at its worst hour of sorts?
Well, it's at a very bad hour. I don't know that I want to say it's its worst hour, but it's a very bad hour when you nickel and dime people in desperate straits, Americans in desperate straits. You don't send help to them. It's been 66 days already, and you're still trying to say a lot of the people in Congress, Republicans, won't vote adequate funds, and then they put it off for no reason at all. And the contempt with which the Speaker did it, giving no reason at the last minute. We were told 20 minutes before to expect the vote, and all of a sudden, it's not going to happen, and no reason given, and he won't even talk to even Republicans from New York and New Jersey.
Is this how Boehner operates?
I can't think of anything that's bad.
Is this how Boehner operates? I mean, listening to Chris Christie today explain that he was shown no respect whatsoever when people are struggling, didn't even get a call back, calling him 4 times. Is this how Boehner operates?
I haven't seen that before, but he didn't call the governor back. He refused to meet with the Republican congressman from New York who wanted to go in and say, what are you doing and why? He just wouldn't talk to them or anybody else.
If he operates like that, I think it gives us a pretty good insight about what kind of a tough customer he was to deal with in negotiations with the White House. I mean, I would draw that conclusion. Congressman Gerald Nadler, great to have you with us tonight. I hope it all works out. People need the help.